Hello everyone, my name is Yoko. On this channel, I will be disseminating information that I have collected in English, as I feel that the information that is happening in China is often not accurately conveyed to countries other than China. We obtain information from multiple media sources, so we would be happy if you could give us your opinions on the content of the video in the comments. Also, my native language is not English, so I use an AI speaker to create audio to convey information correctly. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel and support us. This time I will talk about how when patriotism passes, Chinese people start attacking other Chinese people. Do you know about the U-lock? This item is used to lock your bicycle or motorcycle to prevent it from being stolen. The incident dates back to 2012. At that time, there was a movement for Japan to nationalize the Senkaku Islands. In response, anti-Japanese demonstrations broke out in various parts of China. I think it would be better to call it an anti-Japanese riot. Meanwhile, an incident occurred in a town called Shen, China. An incident occurred in Shen where a Chinese man riding a Japanese car was attacked. At that time, the attacker hit the Chinese man who owned the Japanese car on the head with a U-lock. As a result, the Chinese who were attacked were left with language difficulties and became physically disabled. Objectively speaking, this is an incident of injury by Chinese people against Chinese people. The perpetrator was sentenced to 10 years in prison. After this incident, U-lock became synonymous with people who commit violence under the guise of being patriotic or anti-Japanese. This was in 2012. This is a recent story, but I would like to talk about the arson incident at a sushi restaurant. The sushi restaurant that was damaged is located in a town next to Shen. In 2012, a Chinese man who owned a Japanese car with a U-lock was attacked in Shen. Then, this year, a sushi restaurant was set on fire in a nearby city. Locals say that another U-lock has occurred, and that this is an upgrade to the U-lock. The Chinese Communist Party is doing a lot of propaganda bashing Japan. This prompted Chinese people to set fire to a sushi restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant that was set on fire was Chinese. This city is not one where many Japanese people live. I think there are probably very few. Therefore, it seems that most of the owners of sushi restaurants and the customers who visit them are Chinese. So the story is that Chinese people are attacking Chinese people. This has no effect on Japanese people, but there are many people in China today who are dissatisfied with society, so when the Chinese Communist Party starts bashing Japan, some people come out to vent their frustrations. Masu. Not only are the lessons from Shen not being put to use, but Chinese dissatisfaction is even worse than before, and the internet is reacting negatively to the arson incident. I think it's natural to think that setting fires is worse. It is said that the Chinese Communist Party is trying to suppress anti-Japanese riots in the country while bashing Japan. I don't think the U-lock incident is known much in Japan, but if anti-Japanese behavior is tolerated, terrible incidents will occur. If you say it's okay to use violence if you're anti-Japanese, Chinese people will attack rich Chinese people and destroy Japanese products. However, the victims are Chinese people, and the wealthy people targeted are government officials and Chinese Communist Party officials, so they are at risk. Therefore, it is not desirable for demonstrations or destructive activities to take place. So, we are bashing Japan a lot. But the current situation is that we are controlling it so that the side effects do not affect us. I would like to introduce one more thing related to this matter. There is a tone in the Japanese media that people who have negative feelings towards Japan are part of the Chinese population, but it is actually the opposite. The Chinese Communist Party continues to carry out anti-Japanese education. Therefore, ordinary Chinese people often have negative feelings towards Japan. However, some Chinese people know about foreign affairs and about Japan, so intellectuals understand that the Communist Party's anti-Japanese education and anti-Japanese propaganda is political propaganda, but sane people are in the minority. Decent people are those who live in places where they have many opportunities to interact with foreigners, or where there are many Chinese people who know about foreign affairs. For example, if your relative or child is studying abroad and you hear that what the Chinese Communist Party has announced is not true, you can check the answers. If you have relatives living in America, you will understand that it is worse in China. And if you live in Japan, you know that there is no other country that values cleanliness and safety as much as Japan, but most Chinese people don't have access to that kind of information. The town where the sushi restaurant was set on fire this time is a rural town. This is an area where many people don't know what's going on in countries other than China. When you go to those rural towns, you'll find that anti-Japanese sentiment is much stronger than in Shanghai or Shenzhen. Of course, the only information we can get is propaganda from the Chinese Communist Party. Inland areas with few contacts with foreign countries are dangerous areas that believe in the propaganda of the Chinese Communist Party. So, is Shanghai okay? There have been anti-Japanese riots in Shanghai as well. There are many people who have moved to Shanghai from regional cities. And there are many people who want to vent their frustrations. I don't think it's well known in Japan, but Shanghainese make fun of people who come from outside of Shanghai. People who live a normal life and come from a rural town feel that they are discriminated against by Shanghainese people. Therefore, when anti-Japanese riots occur, Shanghainese who own Japanese cars will be attacked. When anti-Japanese sentiment is stirred up and riots occur within the country, the victims are the Chinese people who are usually dissatisfied with the situation. In other words, the Communist Party is targeted. In the end, it is the Communist Party that is in charge of China, so the problems the Chinese people are having are due to the policies of the Communist Party. The more we incite anti-Japanese sentiment, the more unstable China becomes. If you ask me, can the Communist Party stop bashing Japan? They have been bashing Japan for many years, so they cannot stop suddenly. The Communist Party has no choice but to continue bashing Japan, but bashing Japan will destabilize China. From the Japanese perspective, this is a domestic situation in China. It's just a conflict between Chinese people, so it doesn't mean it's going to destabilize Japan. It's not like China has found itself in this situation recently. If the Chinese Communist Party doesn't like something, it applies economic pressure on foreign countries. It's not just Japan. The United States was also pressured not to import grain, and Australia also had its exports suspended. However, this does not mean that we have succumbed to China due to pressure. We have long known the risks of economic pressure from China. In fact, economic pressure is completely useless. Unless we take action to make China understand that it is China that is in trouble, the unstable situation will continue, so we need to make them understand that they will not bow to Chinese pressure. That's all for now. See you next time.